In the vibrant city of Lagos, where life moved fast and dreams were born every day, there lived a humble man named Daniel with his loving wife Grace and their 3 children, David, Esther, and little Samuel. They lived in a small rented apartment in a crowded neighborhood. The house was old, the paint was peeling, and when it rained, water sometimes leaked through the roof. But inside that little home lived something many rich houses did not have: love. Red heart. Daniel worked as a bus driver. Every morning before the sun rose, he left home to drive passengers across the busy streets of Lagos. The job was hard, the traffic was stressful, and the pay was small, but Daniel never complained. He only wanted to provide food for his family. Grace, his wife, was a strong and faithful woman. She sold small food items by the roadside: rice, beans, and fried plantain, just to support the family. Every evening, when Daniel returned from work tired and sweaty, Grace would welcome him with a smile. "Welcome home," she would say softly. And Daniel would always reply, "Thank you, my queen." Despite their struggles, the children were happy. David, the eldest, loved reading books. Esther enjoyed singing in church, and little Samuel always followed his father around, saying he wanted to be just like him. But life was not always easy. One year, things became very difficult. Daniel's bus company reduced workers, and suddenly he lost his job. The day he came home with the news, his face looked heavy with sadness. Grace noticed immediately. "Daniel, what happened?" she asked gently. Daniel sat down slowly. "They said business is bad, they don't need many drivers anymore." For a moment, the room became silent. Grace looked at him, then held his hand. "It will be well," she said. "God will make a way." But the weeks that followed were very hard. Money became scarce. Sometimes they ate only once a day. The landlord began asking for rent. The children's school fees were unpaid. Daniel searched everywhere for work, but no opportunity came. One evening, Daniel sat outside their house with his head in his hands. "I have failed my family," he said quietly. Grace came and sat beside him. "No," she replied firmly. "You have not failed. God's time is different from our time." Daniel looked at her with tired eyes. "But when will that time come?" Grace smiled gently. "When God says it is time." That Sunday, the whole family went to church. During the service, the pastor spoke about patience and faith. Sometimes, the pastor said, God delays blessings not because he has forgotten you, but because he is preparing something greater. Daniel felt those words deep in his heart. From that day, he refused to give up. He began helping people with small jobs, carrying loads in the market, washing cars, fixing small mechanical problems. The money was small, but he kept working with hope. One afternoon, something unexpected happened. A wealthy businessman came to the market looking for someone to repair his broken delivery van. Many mechanics were busy, but Daniel stepped forward confidently. "I can try," Daniel said. The businessman agreed. Daniel worked carefully for hours under the hot sun until the engine finally started. The businessman was surprised. "You fixed it. How did you learn this?" Daniel smiled. "My father was a mechanic when I was young. I learned from him." The man looked impressed. "I own a logistics company," he said. "I need honest and hardworking people like you. Would you like to work for me?" Daniel could hardly believe his ears. "Yes, sir," he replied quickly. That job changed everything. Within a few months, Daniel became one of the most trusted workers in the company. His dedication and honesty impressed the owner so much that he promoted him to fleet manager. Soon, Daniel was earning enough to pay the children's school fees, clear their debts, and move the family into a better house. The day they moved into their new home, Grace stood in the living room with tears in her eyes. "Daniel," she whispered, "look at what God has done." Daniel held her hand. "Yes," he said quietly. "When I almost lost hope, God was preparing something better." David later graduated from university. Esther became a gospel singer in church, and Samuel grew up dreaming of becoming an engineer. One evening, Many years later, the family gathered together for dinner. Samuel asked his father, "Dad, how did we go from that small house to this beautiful life?" Daniel smiled and looked at Grace. Then he said something the children would never forget. "Because we trusted God's timing." Grace nodded. "Remember this always," she said. "Life may delay your blessings, people may laugh at your struggles, and the road may be difficult." She paused and smiled warmly. But God's time is always the best time. And in that moment, the whole family understood the powerful truth of their journey. Sometimes the greatest blessings come not when we want them, but when God knows we are ready. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, comment, share to your loved one and on your notification button for more videos like this.